Hey guys, so today a lot of people have been asking me questions. I've been getting a lot of messenger questions. They're actually wondering how I know all this stuff. Like, I'm trying to put myself in your position and try to see where you're coming from. And I'm like, you know what? It's really hard to get information because if you haven't been doing this for a couple years, then you don't know who to trust. If you just start now, you might fall for anything, and it's hard to decipher who's a real person and who's a shill because you have to understand there are gatekeepers, meaning you have your mainstream media, which gives you most of the crap. They have an agenda. They're bought by like the Clintons. They're bought by the Rothschilds, the bankers usually, and they give you a narrative that they want you to follow, or they want you to believe, or they want you to fear in. So then if you start going alternative, they start going on YouTube. You could find people like Alex Jones. So a lot of people thought Alex Jones was real. The thing about him, he's I think he's a gatekeeper or a shill, meaning that he gives you a lot of truth, but is trying to get you away from certain things. So he'll give you a lot of truth, but he won't talk about a certain topic. He's also a sensationalist, so he makes everything like, oh, they're gonna come and just make himself look super sensational and super out there. So it discredits critical thinking or critical thought. So it's very hard to decipher this stuff, but I'm gonna give you some books that you could follow and understand and see how public opinion is engineered, social engineering pretty much. So here are some books. This is one of them. This is all. It's called Propaganda by Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays is Sigmund Freud's nephew. Um, you know, uh, how do you call it? He pretty much started this whole public manipulating opinion, kind of like social engineering, like I was talking about. So he was, how could I explain it? There's just so much. Anyways, propaganda. It just shows you how they manipulate you through the masses, through influence, and through celebrities, through the way they say things, and the way they make you think about stuff. Here's another one of his as well. I haven't really delved too much in this one. It looks kind of boring to be honest, so I just kind of skimmed through it. But I haven't read this one in a while. But that's another one from him. It's called Public Opinion. This one's a really great one. This is called Rules for Radicals. Rules for Radicals is from Saul Alinsky, and actually Hillary Clinton. See Saul Alinsky? Hillary Clinton loves this guy. And let me just show you something that you would not believe. So if you look down here, it says Lucifer. Pretty much he's giving tribute to Lucifer. As you know, he is the fallen angel, which is Satan pretty much. And he's talking about he was the first radical. So this shows you how to win in the public, in the political scene, and doing whatever it takes, kind of like no rules, kind of tactics, and being highly manipulative. So for instance, he'll be like, you hippies back in the 60s, 70s, you got to start having the long beards and t-shirts, and you got to start dressing in attire that's more presentable, and then infiltrate like that. So you see what I'm saying? So it's very Machiavellian, very infiltrative type of tactics. There's another great one by William Cooper. This guy is a wealth of knowledge. He was a former United States Naval Intelligence Briefing Team member. He reveals a lot of hidden information. It's kind of some of his stuff is a lot of out there. He also predicted 9/11 before it happened, and after that, he was killed. So lets you know a lot about that. Now this is one of my favorites. This one is amazing. It's called The Naked Communist. It shows you the infiltration of communism, the ideals of it. So before it was all about more kind of like how would you say it, more brute force type of tactics to take over a nation. But this just shows you how they do it now, and it's through subversion, it's through infiltration, through ideas, through influencers, again, like the other one, through basically pulling on your heartstrings and emotions. But this one here, what I love about this one, it really brings it, it really explains everything about communism. Communism, Marxism is all the same stuff. Lenin used it. You have China. If you think about China, and you compare them to us, communist China, man, they really have no freedoms. They can't post like we post here. They can't talk like we talk here. And if you want that, that's where we're headed right now. So here is, I need to find it here. Oh, you know what? I have it. There it is. So it shows you the future task of the communist ideals, which is socialistic ideals. And I know we've been bombarded with socialism and democracy all our lives, but it is not a good thing for the country, not for a free country. If you give too much power to the government, it corrupts absolutely. So here it says, current communistic goals. Let me give you one here. Let's see, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. And like I showed you earlier, how in the other book it shows you like, hey, the people that were more a certain way, and maybe they weren't seen as respectable, they had to dress in a certain way so they could infiltrate and destroy whatever they want to destroy in that sense, or take over. Use student riots to foment public protests against programs or organizations which are under communist attack. Infiltrate the press, get control of book review assignments, editorial writings, policy-making positions, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. And for me, once I started studying all this, it just led me to God even more, because I saw the Antichrist demonic infiltration and just ideals. For instance, if you don't think people or the world's against Jesus Christ, I want to give you a little, what do you call it? A little action, a little, what do you call it? A little schoolwork or a little thing. When you're watching TV, see how many times they say Jesus Christ. And they use Jesus Christ as a negative term, kind of like a word of disgust. And that's called blasphemy. So when you're watching these things, you're like, why do I say that? So it just shows you who they're attacking and who they're blaspheming against. And once you read the Bible, you start realizing that everything the world, and Hollywood especially, promotes, it's the opposite of the Bible. And yeah, it's crazy stuff. You see, control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, propulsive, meaningless art. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and violation of free speech and free press. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. So the thing about this too, great thing about this book is how it shows you that once they break down morality and they use, like I said, movies, they use even academia, they're all talking about sexuality to kids at a very young age now. They're trying to normalize pedophilia as well. They're just normalizing a bunch of stuff that really destroys a country, and just how decent people should act. Because once you take all those things down, there is no more rules. And if you don't like rules, man, it's funny to me how parents that were very rebel when they were younger, how very strict they are with their children. So it's like, you see what I'm saying? Now, a lot of people don't like rules, and sometimes people that are in places of power, they do take advantage, and that's the hard thing about that, is like, we always need leaders. We can't have this anarchist type of society. If you think about just like a soccer team or baseball team, they always have the coach who's the leader, and he's always running it, and you always need it. It's always needed, okay? So you people that are intellectuals, people that feel that they're very smart, and, sometimes you just see it, don't place it like you're superior. You're just given a gift, and you should know how to lead. Don't use it for bad. A lot of people need leaders, but you need to do it in a humble way, pretty much. So understand that people need leaders, and not everybody's like you that are thinkers like that, and not everybody's going to think like you. Okay, so here's some honorable mentions. I wasn't going to bring these up, but I just brought them down from my library here. This is called Trust Me, I'm Lying. This one shows you. Let me give you a quick little review here. Ryan Holiday is part Machiavellian, part Ogilvy. I can't even say that word. Ogilvy. In all results, this whiz kid is a secret weapon you've never heard of. Pretty much, this is showing you how the media manipulates you, how they use like smaller, like BuzzFeed or anything to start building a story, and it could be completely fake. But this shows you how they do that. This is called the Playbook for the Dark Arts of Exploiting the Media. Another honorable mention is the art of war. Of course, I just like to study this stuff to see how the enemy attacks. To be honest, I think Trump's using this a lot right now. Dude, I'm doing a video. You were just in here. Can you step outside, please? Sorry, he was just in here right now with me, and then he just walked in and screamed while I'm making a video. Okay, so it's my nephew, by the way. And last one is called Influence. This one's a really great book. It's good for digital marketers. It's good for understanding the psychology of persuasion and how to persuade people. It could be for good or bad. So it's just a great read in that sense. And like I said, the reason I like to read this stuff is to understand the enemy and understand how we're being manipulated, because something is terribly wrong with the U.S., the way we're going, the way the world is going. So, it's just something that I feel I need to research and learn. So when I give you guys these things and this information, understand it's not just me giving you just something I just came up with. It's years of study. If you are trying to, it's hard for you to unravel all this stuff, and it's just so much. I get it. This is a lot to take in all at the same time. It took me years to go through this. It took me years of believing it and then not believing it, and then start seeing it, and then you start seeing a pattern, and it's like, oh man, it really is coming. And all this stuff is pretty much predicted. I've seen it coming. If you talk to my wife, she'd be like, man, he's always into this stuff, and he's always talking about this and that, doom and gloom, but it's finally here. And really, the only thing that really brought me peace and what they're trying to hide from you is Jesus Christ. That's the only thing. He's the only thing that could save you. He could change your heart, and he could change this whole racism talk that everybody's talking about. Racism is basically hate. You cannot change people's hearts like that. You got to change it through your smile, through your goodwill, and spreading love instead of spreading, hate and hating each other. So thank you guys so much. Take care. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I hope this helps. Have a good day, guys.